we're going to work on some different shapes of composite objects today. We have a very irregular shape here, but we're going to break it into two shapes that we do know how to work with, and then we're going to do a cylinder as well. So we have, actually you can cut this into a rectangular prism at the bottom and a triangular prism at the top. Okay? And when you look at this being 4 centimeters, because it's a rectangle, this one would also be 4 centimeters. That makes the top 6 centimeters. Okay? Because 6 and 4 would equal that total 10. So we're going to do the top triangular prism first. And the formula for the surface area is 2 1/2 times the base times the height plus the area of 3 rectangles. Now, when you're looking at the base and height of a rectangle, you have to make sure that you have the height and the base coming at right angles. If you do, then those numbers can be used the way they are. If you don't, in a triangle like this, you would then have to calculate the height. And we'll get to an example later with those kind of questions. Okay? So we would have surface area equals 2 times 1/2 times the base. Well, the base is 8 centimeters here, so it still would be 8 centimeters times the height of 6 plus. You have 3 separate rectangles. Okay? And a rectangle is going to be 3 centimeters wide by the length of one of the sides of the triangle. So it's going to be 3 by 10 in this case. And then it's going to be 3 by 6, because its width is 3 by 6 up, plus 3 by 8, because it's going to be on the bottom here, 3 by 8. Okay, so you'll notice that 10, 6, and 8 are the 3 sides of your triangle, because if I just redrew the triangle, 10, 6, and 8. And then the depth of that pyramid is 3 centimeters. So that's why you have 3 by 10, you have 3 by 8, and then you have 3 by 6 as the 3 rectangles. All right, so then I would like you to multiply each one out. So the surface area is 48 plus 30 plus 18 plus 24. Add them up, and the surface area of your triangular prism is 120 centimeters squared. Okay, we're going to do the bottom triangular or rectangular prism next. Okay, so I like to do front and back, so front, F and B, front and back. Okay, there's 2 of them. They're both the same. They're 8 by 4. The top and the bottom is 2 8 by 3s. And the left and the right, or the sides, if you want to call them that, are 2 of 4 by 3. Okay, so the front and the back, 4 by 8. The top and the bottom is 8 by 3 going back, and the left and the right is 4 by 3. Okay, so we total those up, and we get 136 centimeters squared. So total rectangular prism. Now, we have to think about the overlap and calculate that. Well, where they're overlapping is the top of the rectangular prism. Okay, so the top of the rectangular prism here, which is the same as the bottom of the rectangular prism, so the top and the bottom, 8 by 3, and there is 2 of those, so that's 48 centimeters squared is the overlap. There's always 2 overlaps when you have 2 shapes coming together. So then the total surface area of this shape is 120 for the triangular prism plus 136 for the rectangular prism minus the overlap for a total of 208 centimeters squared. So with this kind of shape, or any kind of irregular shape, see if you can divide it into shapes that you know how to calculate. Okay, the next one we're going to look at is cylinders. Two round cakes have diameters of 14 and 26 and are 5 centimeters tall. They are arranged as shown. The cakes are covered in frosting. What is the area of the frosting? Okay, so we need the surface area of the cakes to be able to frost them. Couple things we should think about. You don't frost the bottom of the big one where it sits on the plate, so you only need one there. You would put frosting in between here, in between the two little ones. No, that's the overlap. No, we're going to calculate the overlap a little bit later. Sorry. Okay, diameter. That's the other little trick here. This is a diameter of 14, so the radius is 7. We only use the radius in the formula. So the diameter is 26, the radius is 13. Again, we only use the radius in the formula. So we're going to do the top cylinder first. Surface area equals 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h. Okay, so looking at the top cylinder, the radius is 7 squared plus 2 pi 7 5 pi. Okay, so we square 7, times it by 2, times it by pi to get 307.9 plus 2 times pi, and try to use your pi button, not 3.14. 2 times pi times 7 times 5 is 220. 527.8 centimeters squared is the surface area of the top cylinder. With cylinders, because you're using pi, you're always going to end up with a 1 decimal answer, rounded to 1 decimal. Okay, the bottom cylinder, again, same formula, 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h. Now, we don't need the bottom of this one, so we're not going to calculate it. How do we change that? Well, here in the first part is the circle part, and it says 2 circles. So we're actually going to change that to 1 circle. Okay, so we're going to cross off the 2 and change it to 1 circle. Pi times 13 is the radius squared plus 2 pi 13 times 5. You could calculate it with 1 circle and then subtract it off, or you could just not include that. So 530.9 plus 408.4 equals 939.3 centimeters squared. Okay, so that's the big cylinder. Now let's do the overlap. The overlap, it's nice if you have your calculations labeled, because it actually is the bottom of the small cylinder. And the bottom of the small cylinder is a circle, and we've actually calculated it right here. 2 circles, because there's always 2 overlaps, and so this is actually equal to 3079.9 centimeters squared, for the grand total of 939.3 plus 527.8 minus 307.9. Okay, so we took the small cylinder, added it to the big cylinder, subtracted the overlap, and we get 1,159.2 centimeters squared is our total surface area that would be iced with frosting. All right, so there's 4 shapes for you to work on. There is a cube on top of a triangular prism. So a cube means that the top dimension here, they're all 3 centimeters, wide, long, and high. Okay, on the bottom here we have another cube, cylinder on a cube. Notice that this 2 is the diameter, so think about what to do with that diameter. Okay, again, you have a cylinder and a rectangular prism, and you have 2 rectangular prisms and a cylinder in between.